The Redeemer has risen.
Hey, what's up guys, Massive here, coming to do another video commentary, and today we're going to do a cast of the series between BikeRush and Drive from the November Command Post tournament that was held by CGF and others. Anyways, we're going to be on Tiki Turmoil here. It's going to be the first map. I do believe both players decided to pick this map because there was no specified map as for the starting map. So I'm guessing you just have to both agree. I did play this tournament. I will go into more detail as to why. Actually, I won't spoil anything, guys. I'm not spoiling a thing. But here I am. I'm going to cast these games, and I'm going to cast the finals as well. So, yeah, and I will have a guest with me to cast that. So that should be pretty good. Anyways, in the top of this map here, we can see BikeRush playing as Vanilla Nod. And going to the bottom, we can see Drive playing as a GDI faction of some sort. Can we spot a rifle squad here? He's not Steel Talons because he's got the regular engineer. He's going to be GDI. Okay, thank goodness for that, guys, because if he got Zocom, he's not going to have Juggernauts. Having said that, though, on a map as open as this, having artillery not as good because you can somewhat maneuver around artillery units on large and open maps. They're not nearly as powerful as they are on maps like Tournament Highlands, where it's that middle contested field that decides the game in the late game. And if you don't control that, then you're screwed. Whoa, that range though from that defensive tower. Speaking of range, Mutant Marauders. That range is sick. You remember those cabals back in the day when they had that sick range, especially in garrisons? Well, that's how mutants are now. CGF did a freaking huge buff to them in the last patch, and I feel that they are perfectly reasonable, especially for their cost, which is $600. Anyways, guys, you can probably tell that I'm a bit obsessed with mutants, which I am. I do love my mutants. Anyways, down here we can see Drive going for the eco build. BikeRush as well. He's not. He does have a few rushing options available to him. He can go for 2-war factory, bike buggy all in, though not as effective versus GDI compared to the Scrin factions because of pit bulls. They are pretty fast and they only two-shot the pit bulls. So having said that, those Seekers do a good job as well. All-ins kind of have gone out of the meta because everyone somewhat has figured out how to stop them, and Scrin as well with that one base shard Seeker spam like we saw in that tournament earlier this year. That is exactly how you stop that as Scrin. Anyways, down here we can see Drive, who's just going to eco. I'm not going to scroll too much, guys, because I know that in my earlier videos where I casted games, I scrolled like this, like there, and then you didn't even notice a thing on the screen. I'm going to try and avoid that here. But no unorthodox builds coming out of Drive. But yeah, look at that, guys. That is a Master Leaf refinery special there. That's how I always put my refineries. Of course, it does account to a lot of lost mining time the longer this game goes, because look at that distance that the harvest has to drive each time it loads and unloads its Tiberium. It does add up over time. Anyways, Bike's coming out here for BikeRush. He is going to get himself up a second refinery, I think. That's building way too fast or slow to be a... You know what I mean. Anyways, he's going to come down here with some bikes. Look at that foliage, man. That wasn't in the game to begin with. Technique imported that from C&C3, I'd imagine. That's the only good thing that C&C was for anyways, importing models. There's a few things in here like the Tiki. I think that's the Tiki. Whoa, he's going into those defensive tower there. BikeRush, you did not know that he had that. He just lost 2 bikes. That was unfortunate for him. Oh, this is not going to be so good for Drive. He's going pit bulls, but the thing is though, BikeRush has maintained control of this defensive tower as well. So if he forgets briefly that he has that, he's going to get torn to shreds because these pit bulls die in one shot. For example, here he's not paying attention. He's going to raid the harvesters, but yeah, that pit bull will go down. Exactly what I mentioned, and he's going to clean this up. He's got infantry out on the field. He's going to chase this harvester back. Let me just bring up the help bars here so we can see the harvesters that are wounded. He's got the pit bulls in the back of the base. Bikes are no match for pit bulls. Because look how many shots those pit bulls tank. They're going to get taken out. Drive's trying to get his eco up. He's a bit nervous, I think. It is the first game, or the first set of games these guys have played, I think, this tournament. So probably need to warm up a bit. Drive on edge, as you can see by that refinery placement. Not so good. Anyways, he's going to take up to tier 2, get their AP ammo online. Not as crucial versus Nod, but BikeRush is going infantry, so maybe he suspects more of it to come. I mean, Nod infantry combined with the redemption support power is extremely hard to defeat his GDI without that AP ammo upgrade. And even with AP ammo, the Awakened squads, man, they tank so much damage. And Awakened are even better now than ever before because they don't take TIB exposure. So if you like Awakened, if you want to play Mock, then just download and install 1.02 plus, because at least Mock are somewhat viable, though I do have some suggestions to make them even better, but no one listens to me. These are going to get taken out. Hammerhead going to respond though, which is going to clean these up. Some nice freebies there for Drive. He's going to be liking that. Not even upgraded those rocket squads. Unupgraded rockets don't really fare too well versus anything that shoots bullets. That can't be said though for the Black Hand infantry, because they just tank all of it. You need AP ammo. And AP ammo is so powerful that it converts these hammerheads into specialized anti-vehicle aircraft, which is really confusing because here it says strong versus infantry, which you can clearly see. They are tearing to shreds this base. He's going to get away here. Oh, one single rocket. Not going to take that out. The defensive tower does go down. No sneaky flame tanks in the back. We do have some bikes, though, which could be in to spot for a one-click. He's going to get taken out, though. Wow, those hammerheads. Strong versus infantry? I think not. Should be strong versus everything, especially if you put mutants inside of them. Mutant hammerheads, man, even versus aircraft, you're going to be smashing them. And you'll see what I mean by that when I post my FPV. Oh my god, stealth tank in the back. BikeRush with the combined assault, distracting his opponent a lot. He's going to get his tank taken out, but yeah, that one click is going to force Drive to post. Pwn whatever he had in mind and go for that refinery. He's just going to delay him a bit. BikeRush, however, has expended all of his harassing options. This will probably make Drive paranoid. He's probably going to go for a few pitballs to counter any potential stealth tanks that rock up out of the blue. There's one single predator tank here which is wounded. May want to get back to base. Maybe build some rigs, man. Rigs. Because they do detect stealth. They have those double guardian cannons on them. 500 cannon damage per shot. 2 guardian cannons. That's like a mammoth tank, but before railguns. And that is insane. Put one of those in your TIB field, and those tanks will never hope to achieve anything. Oh my god, TIB core is online though, which is going to make these hammerheads a lot less effective compared to before. Air tower is down here for BikeRush. He's holding on. Drive's he's just throwing units away. He should go back. There's no need to suicide this much. He's going to take out this husk, but is it worth it, man? This is not worth it. He's sacking all of his forces. Another refinery is on this field. He's not even going to bother to place it on his second field to saturate it just yet. And he had the perfect chance there to just, you know, drive BikeRush around, force out a lot of anti-air units before he goes into avatars. But yeah, he just threw it. He's got Harvester here, idle. Drive, he needs to get that back to work. He's not taking the bottom Tiberium field either. But having said that, BikeRush doesn't have an expansion. This is unlike BikeRush. Usually he's a little faster than this at expanding. He's got some bugging on his harvesters, but it looks like that is not actually affecting the refinery. Harvester will get destroyed, so yeah, BikeRush is just taking this game, I feel. There is double ref on this field, not spaced out, those refineries, so could cost him. The one click will be online in a few minutes' time. But yeah, he's got a lot of refineries, but not many harvesters. He seems to be bleeding a bit too much. He's not rebuilding his harvesters, which could be really bad for him. He's got these AP ammo watchtowers, which are really good for killing light vehicles like these bikes here. And people do use guardian cannons nowadays for killing bikes. I do feel that if you're versus bikes, the watchtowers are fine enough because the bikes have really good or really bad resistance to gun damage. Guardian cannons are more useful versus stuff like flame tanks and scorpion tanks and stuff like that. If you're still Talons, the guardian cannon buff is just amazing because they never had sonic emitters, so having some guardian cannons to deal with enemy vehicles is a good thing. BikeRush, if he loses this avatar, he's just going to gift it to his opponent. I don't see any venoms on the way. What's he doing there? He's just going to overrun here. He's just going to gift this unit. There's buggies here, going to get taken out, and man, these rifles are just going to be enough to deal with these bikes. They can get taken out. And also, this defensive tower is still alive, causing damage, killing those bikes, which is unfortunate. The avatar will not escape. That's going to go down, and look at that. Drive is already onto it. He's not Dude, there's a husk there. Just take the husk. Okay then, just don't take it then. He's gonna build it from this barracks. Okay, Drive is not playing well here. He should be aware of this husk. I mean, that is crucial for him to take. He has no armor, so having that one avatar is gonna be a huge deal. Oh my god, there's a flame tank here. But he does have a tier 2, so he can fence this refinery, doubling its armor, but it looks like he's not gonna be able to. Nor does he have enough defense here to stop this. I guess he will have now. But yeah, I feel that he saw that flame tank earlier, or maybe that was another one. He's got 2 on the field. He's going to take this spike over, which will give him a 2 spike advantage. BikeRush, meanwhile, has got double ref on his expansion. Drive, he's in all sorts of trouble. He's going to take this blue Tiberium with some infantry here. He's not harvesting from this bottom field. Flame tank in the bottom. BikeRush is going to reduce Drive to that top field, especially if he takes this refinery out, because that's all the build radius that's available to him here. He's just going to go for it as well, which is not smart here for BikeRush. Probably could aim between both of the buildings, which he's doing. If you didn't know, if you select a unit and then press control by default, I assume you guys have your keyboard macros and short hotkeys set to default. But yeah, if you press control, you can force fire the ground, and that's how he did that there. Flame tanks are coming out for BikeRush. Really unorthodox going for flame tanks, but I guess because he's seen that the aircraft got cleaned up earlier, there is no threat to them being destroyed, because usually GDI's quick response to that is flame tanks, unless they have V35s on the map on a waypoint scouting up and down, and predator tanks positioning to deal with them, which is what I would do. That's why I said it just then. I do love me some V35s. No one does it anymore. And, you know, I feel like playing more GDI. I've been playing a lot of Scrin this year. I do want to play GDI, though. I feel that GDI has a lot more to offer, especially Steel Talons. Like, I've been doing Mutants with Steel Talons, and I just love the synergy that they have. And I do plan to do the legendary MRT Mutants with a rig. That's exactly what I'm going to do in one of my FPVs. It might work. It probably won't work, actually, if I were to bet on it. Though having said that, the synergy between MRTs and the rig is that the rig does stack the repairs of the MRTs, which basically makes the MRTs invincible, I'd imagine. Plus, the MRTs repair the rig, so it's pretty sick, actually, because, mind you, the MRTs don't stack their repair. So if 6 MRTs are repairing the rig, it's going to do the same repair as 1 MRT. So don't think that it's any different. And that goes for this ability here called Repair Vehicle. If you do this, it does nothing. Literally, it does absolutely nothing. Repair Vehicles, this icon here, because it sends all 3 drones to repair 1 vehicle, which ultimately will get repaired at the same rate as if 1 drone was repairing it, which would happen anyways. So unless you have an extremely important unit that needs repaired, and there's like many damaged units being repaired at once, then yes, I understand, but that's a really fringe case scenario. Wow, this is a huge blow for BikeRush. He's pulling them in to the tip field. This could mean a tip vein. If I know BikeRush, this is lulling him into a tip vein. He's got this chemical plant. Oh, Drive, man, he is super smart. We just heard a 1 click. He's going to take this out, though. That could have been worse. He does spread these refineries out here. Drive's eco is pretty good. He's not dead just yet. He's trying to kill these down from the terrain. He's going to kill this harvester, though, which is really nice. Drive, I have to say, that was a good play. He sniffed that out a mile away. When BikeRush does that, it's obviously because he has a 1-click queued. Anyways, no epic units in this game. It's been going on for like a while now, and we have not seen a single epic. And no infantry upgrades either for BikeRush. Anyways, there's a massive Pred APC army which Drive just made, and this tech is completely undefended. There's an Obelisk of Light queued, which is going to be pretty hard to deal with. He's going to be suiciding a few of his units there. BikeRush probably has a building queued as well just to block that. I mean, silos are good in this instance. You don't see non-silos, but when they're good for blocking your Obelisk of Light, because they only cost $100 or $200, and furthermore, they also are able to provide the same amount of HP as a power plant. So That's pretty good. You don't get the rifle squad though for selling it, obviously. If you got rifle squads for selling a $200 building, that would just be sick. You'd build a crane just to spam them as Black Hand for those cabals, because that would just be broken as hell. Tybrim Wars, on the other hand, different matter, because it's $500 for the silo. I guess you could say it's better in that game because the silos are actually used more. In Kane's Draft, it's just used for blocking things. But I found that as Black Hand, just build power plants to block, because you get that full health cabal. Assuming you sell the power plant or barracks before it dies. If you don't sell it before it dies and you let it die, you won't get the full squad. So make sure you do that. And in the case of a buzzer hive, if you don't sell it off before it dies, you won't even get a buzzer. So you won't even get a 10% HP buzzer or a 30% HP. You just do not get the buzzer. So make sure you sell. Anyway, Drive's doing a good job stopping BikeRush from taking this Tybrim. He's going to come in here. He's going to take this. Can he spot this here? Drive. No, don't lose your 2-spike advantage, mate. No. Oh, he's going to spot it too late, though. He's not firing. You must have them on hold fire. I mean, it is a good thing to put them on hold fire, the pit bulls, because you can micro them quite efficiently that way. And, guys, I need to take a sip of water, man. I'm losing my voice for this. Anyways. Orca Strike coming in for Drive. Probably should get some mortars on these pit bulls. They would be good for, you know, sniping some of these buildings here, especially these power plants, which are all grouped together. Mortars and that AoE damage would just put Bike on low power, shutting down this obelisk as well. BikeRush, I have found, does have a tendency of going way overboard with the power, and this is no different here. He's got many upgraded power plants, even in the bottom. He's got the shrine, but he hasn't got the upgrades. You can tell because the building doesn't have it on them. And the buildings represent upgrades in this game. Oh, stealth tanks coming in the rear for BikeRush. This is BikeRush's nod gameplay. To deal with this, just simply go for sensor pods. Put them on things like mammoth tanks. I did this in one of my first person videos. Suicide. Trading orcas for that is not worth it, I feel. I feel as GDI, it needs to be better than a 1-for-1 trade. You need to get like a 2-for-1 trade. So the way you do that is you go for zone troopers with scanner packs. Scanner packs will be able to reveal those and kill the stealth tanks. When I first played this game, people like CGF were like, oh, leave. Zone troopers are crap. They got no use whatsoever. And then I would say, well, what about stealth tanks? I mean, they have upgrades for stealth detection. They can jump jet forward for when the stealth tank's low on HP. You can just kill it. I mean, it just makes sense. They're a counter to stealth tanks, and GDI, if you don't use zone troopers, they actually struggle quite a bit versus those tip course tanks. That's what Technic used to do back in the past. In the Zocom, you don't have orcas, man. Forget it. Zorkas do not kill stealth tanks. So what you need to do is you need to go for zone raiders, and that's silly, yes, because they don't really hit moving targets well, but that's when you have to micro. I guess you could argue the Zorka is the same, but the projectiles take forever to land on the ground. Anyways, this is a huge freaking army for Drive. What is BikeRush doing? He's not got his epic unit out yet. He's on tier 3. He's not getting this epic out. He's going for infantry, so this is going to force a transition for Drive. He's going to see this a mile away. He's going for his orcas. He's got 6 in the field. All these harvesters could be taking this blue field down here. They haven't said that. There is some rocket squads here. The GDI harvesters are not stealthed. Unlike the Nod ones, he's going to fly into that AA. That's bad. Or Orca's not very armored. He's going to expend his ammunition on this. I'm not sure what he's occupied on right now, but yeah, he's got those avatars, remember, in the top. Stealth tanks harassing harvesters. Drive. He's completely losing his harvesters. He's only got a few left in the field. He's got 1, 2 here. There's a few more, I think. He's rallied them over to the bottom field. BikeRush, he's going to find the orcas here, and this is just slipping further and further away for Drive, especially considering how BikeRush has a Redeemer on the way. And the APC Pred army is moving in. He's going to find a wall of obelisks and avatars. There's just way too much here. And he's got this well cemented as well with AA turrets. He's not going to be able to get in. Infantry getting massacred here. This is not BikeRush's happy day. I mean, it's not a good day to be a nod. It's not a good day to be nod right now if getting shot down by APCs, especially not. So no railguns on the field for Drive, nor does he have hard points. He does have sensor pods though, which is going to be pretty good, especially as BikeRush has the disruption towers. And this is like, if I were to play Trav versus Bike, it's a lot different than playing his Black Hand, because as you saw there, he's using stealth tanks, though granted versus Trav they're not going to do very much. He is using stealth though, which is a pretty huge deal, because Skrin's stealth detection quite frankly, is just rubbish. They have Seekers. Traveller, though, they don't even have the shielded Seekers, so they get one-shotted by the obelisks and things like that, and that's a pretty big deal because getting two-shotted by the obelisk is like a massive difference because, you know, you can tank that damage, and that's really their only stealth detecting option unless you go for planetary assault carriers, which is sometimes your only option in the late game. The stealth detection radius, though, of the pack I found is not as good. He's going to get torn up here by the AA turrets BikeRush. He's just camping, which is a pretty valid Nod strategy. Camping, you know, that's what Nod's good at. Does Drive have tier 3? He's got tier 3. He could probably go for more as pit. What does Drive do here? Does he go for a Marv? This is the point in game where I think that Jedi have to be further ahead than the Nod player. They have to have a sizable Jug army and a Marv, and also probably a sensor pod in the Marv to detect all this here. I feel that even if he had a Marv, this game would be hard to decide. I just feel that BikeRush is getting further and further ahead, especially now because he's taking all this blue Tiberium. I don't think he would have a refinery queued. Doesn't warrant it, though he does have quite a bit of blue Tiberium here. There is blue in the top. Drive's trying to stop Bike from taking this. That one single avatar still alive. He's got this base camp, but yeah, BikeRush is going to hold this back. Stealth tanks out in the field. He can get taken out by APCs though. BikeRush, oh. Of course, the APCs can reveal that stealth tank because the stealth does wear off when the unit is at low HP. Or because again, getting shot by infantry, I just feel that Drive needs to, you know, concentrate a bit more. I feel that he could play a bit more optimally in this game. He's just, again, suiciding way too much. He's got these Preds here. He's got Juggernauts now. Going to go for a Reclamate Hub. This has to be a Reclamate Hub for the Marv. He needs that tank. Like BikeRush, he has to get an epic unit out. And Bike is just going to sit here. He's going to camp. Going to go for an air tower, potentially for Vertigos, which would be a pretty good option for him, dealing with the Juggernauts. Not have very few things to deal with Jugs though. It's not like Tiberium Wars where your only option is literally Juggernauts, or maybe beam cannons, beam venom. The problem though is that in Tiberium Wars, I don't play Tiberium Wars, but I'm just gonna guess this. The beam cannons are tier 3. So unlike Kane's Wrath, where you can spam a bunch of beam cannons out at tier 2, and by the time you need them, you have like 10 or so. In Tiberium Wars, you need, the moment you need the beam cannons is when you have the tier 3 up. So you're pretty much never always going to have enough of them to deal with the Juggernauts and stuff like that. I don't know for sure, but I just feel that tier 2, the beam cannons in that game and in this game makes more sense. Beam cannons aren't a tier 3 unit. I mean, if you want to classify a tier 3 unit, I'd say that easily the blue flame tank is a tier 3 unit, though that is an upgrade, not so much a, like what tier tech you need to build that. I just feel that the effectiveness of that unit is tier 3 effectiveness. Nice micro there for BikeRush, avoiding all of that from the Juggernauts. He does have Orcas here, so he may want to go back. He's going to knock down those trees. Surprisingly, even the C&C4 trees get knocked down like the ones in C&C3 do. And he's just going to sit here with his Avatar and Redeemer army. I could never do this. This is something that Senna has perfected. Likewise for Bike. I guess they just are okay, you know, camping in their base for like 20 minutes or so. I, on the other hand, have a need to push out, which is always the case for me. Anyways, you can get this chemical plant back up, which is to use the C Tiberium once again. He's taking all this blue Tiberium. As you can see, look at the army he's able to produce by harvesting that blue Tiberium. Drive, he's still got some up here, but he's not taking it. He needs to push though. As long as this goes, the worse it's going to be for him, just because he's putting the sensor pod. Look, if you're going to put the sensor pod down, put it on the Marv, because a stealth detecting unit like a Venom can just clean this sensor pod up. Unlike if you put it on your Marv or your Mammoth tank, you'd never be able to get that off as a Nod player. Oh my god, is this going to be the perfect mine job? Of course it is. Wow, that damage. Holy crap. taking out half of the Marv's HP. That's just the worst possible start to this fight for Drive. He does have double engineer in the Marv though, so he will be able to get repairs on that over time. And this is shaping up to be a rather crazy engagement. It is not all, hope is not all lost for Drive, because BikeRush is not going for artillery. He's got vertigos out. No, he doesn't actually. I would have imagined he would have had some out, though there is a lot of pitballs in the field, so I guess I understand his reasoning for not having them. Avatar back at home, presumably for killing stealth tanks. He may want to get a pitbull here, though he has a lot of things to control, especially on this super large and open map. It is hard to control all your units at once. He's got this defensive tower as well. Defensive tower is still around for Drive, so that could be useful. Oh my god, BikeRush. He's going to use the decoy redeemer to potentially force the shockwave artillery. That would be pretty sick. Though the problem with him doing this though is that they're both stealth, so Drive doesn't have any idea that this is going to be a stealth redeemer. And of course the Marv will prioritize on the vehicle, so he's just going to get that decoy taken out straight away, not executed the way that you probably would have thought it would have been. And did those Predator tanks get wiped out, or did he pull them back to base? If they did, but then it wouldn't have taken long, because look how many freaking avatars he's got there. He needs a miracle to make this just disappear. He needs to go for mass hammerheads. He needs to like 20 or so hammerheads at least, and even then it's going to be hard. This Marv taking damage from the infantry. Probably could use a redemption, you know, just to emp that Marv and maybe get some more damage dealt. He does have the right idea going for air, but he just simply doesn't have enough. He's got the juggernauts on the field, only one or two of them. They're a bit out of position though. If he loses this fight, bear this in mind, he's going to gift all of these husks. In fact, the Predator tanks are still alive. He's going to flank from the bottom. The hammerheads are doing way too much damage here. Oh, hammerheads getting destroyed. That could be pivotal, losing one or so hammerheads there. The tip vane does come off on the Predator tanks. That's unfortunate. That could be just what BikeRush needs. The Marv could be Marvising this field if there is funds limit, if he's limited by funds. This is actually turning around here. BikeRush has no anti-air. However, what he does have is a nuke. And remember guys, if he uses, if Drive uses the shockwave artillery, this Temple of Nod can activate one of its abilities, or its only ability, which is the Master Computer Countermeasures, which actually the radar and all EMP affected buildings are returned to normal status. I wonder why it says the radar. Does that mean when they EMP your MCV that you get your MCV's radar back? Maybe that means if your opponent does the, what do you call it, the radar jamming missile, and you use that, does that cancel the radar jamming missile? That's something to test. That is something to test. I didn't know that that was an interaction, but maybe that's what they mean by that. I mean, it wouldn't undo a radar scan that GDI did to Nod, but nevertheless, got me thinking. So yeah, that's going to be 1-0 to BikeRush. Drive's going to be down. Was a long game, mind you, 27 minutes and 48 seconds. And it was a big slugfest. BikeRush with the stealth tank antics, getting himself a 1-up in that game. So yeah, 1-up. It's going to be 1-up for BikeRush owns. Alright guys, must leave back to do game number 2. And watch me butcher the name of this map once again. It is Het Platteland. And it is their biggest map in 1v1, and over on the left hand side we can see Drive playing as GDI once again. Please show me his name. Do I not have tooltip enabled or something? I just don't have it working. Anyways, he's going to be obviously the green faction because BikeRush owns is always red. He always picks his color. He's going to be over here. He's going to go for 2 engineers, curiously disintegrators, on the largest map there is. And for a moment I thought that was orcas, but it's actually birds. It's not nearly as bad though as that map, that aquatic map, which is like being underwater. I forgot the name of it, but you know the map I mean. That map is, you perceive sharks and huge freaking, you know, things like that to be units, and you get confused. But I have a suspicion as to why he made these descents. It's either to blow the barrels up, the fuel drums, sorry, and destroy the spike, but then he'd probably get his descent splashed down by the barrel, I'd imagine. But he could be just trying to take this spike over as well. And look at the attention to detail that Zypher Bullet made. He's got this Viceroid here. Is it a Viceroid? Yeah, it is. It's a hostile unit. Who would have thought? And this guy, man, he's chasing what's going on? It looks like it's... I'll let those two get on with their thing. And over on the left-hand side, we can see Drive, who's not going to rush. This map, forget rushing. It is probably impossible, though. I'd probably do a rig rush anyways, because I just seem to be doing nothing but that recently. He's going to go for some harvesters. GDI, they do have a better chance at fending off distance compared to the other factions, because they do have machine gun wielding harvesters, which will be able to kill enemy disintegrators. He does have a light machine gun on them, and if you hadn't have gathered by now, they do gather Tiberium. The distance will get cleaned up though for Drive, which is pretty unfortunate. BikeRush maybe just wanted to scout with those, force out an APC. Judging by... Actually no, these spikes are always damaged. So I guess it makes sense how he's repairing, because if you don't repair the spike, then killing these drums is going to probably destroy it, or almost destroy it. And you don't want to fall behind on spikes really in this game if you can help it, especially versus a player like BikeRush. You want to try and, you know, be the same economically or ahead, because he just has really good micro and he just makes good decisions. You know, he adapts really well, and that's a sign of a pro player. I'd imagine if I did the strategies I've been doing versus the likes of Green Zero to BikeRush, rather than, you know, 6-7 games later he finds a way to stop my build, he'd probably find a way to stop it the first game, unlike Green Zero, who took 9 games to figure out something. So yeah, that fuel drum did explode. Doesn't really do much damage. I guess it does a bit. It has more chance of blowing your own units up. I've had a game where my bikes have actually blown up next to that, so yeah, you need to be careful. It may be worth just to destroy the barrel here, just so your opponent can't use it later on against you in an engagement there. But yeah, nevertheless, he's going to be over here. Drive, he's going to go for an airfield, no rig on the way, with a Bloodhound ability. And yeah, it is pretty huge, this map. There is tib fields here, which players don't normally expand to first. They usually go to this field, then this field, and then, you know, when it goes to the super long game, it goes to this field. It's one of the only maps where there's 3 tib expansions for either side. Usually it's 2 expansions per player on a regular 1v1 maps, but this map, there is a 3rd field, and you tend to forget that as well. He's going to go for Firehawks, which is a really common build for GDI. It is a tournament, so it makes sense to play to win. He's got the Stratofighters already on his airfield, so expect to see these fly into BikeRush's base relatively soon. BikeRush is going for an assimilator, going to damage this tier 3 first, and I tell you why he's going to do that. It's because he can get the repair tool cursor, the repair cursor, when he selects this assimilator onto the technology assembler. If he doesn't damage this beforehand, then he won't get that. So it just makes the timing better for him. Anyways, the Firehawks, I expect, will be flying in. He's going to go instead for the tier 3. He's going to take this out. Can BikeRush pull off the repair? Yes, he can. BikeRush pulls off the epic repair there. And he's going to be really happy about that. He killed 2 Firehawks. He got the technology assembler. He's doing excellent in this game. And look at the eco that Drive had to sacrifice for that build. He lost all of his Firehawks, man. Look, he's got 1 left. He's coming back to base. Is it wounded? Yeah, it is. Wow, that was definitely costly for him. He's going to repeat the same thing again, and man, it's going to be hard for Drive to come back at this point. He needs to get lucky and somehow snipe this drone ship when it's on a bit of terrain where it can't deploy. That's one way he can you know, pull this back from that really icky situation. Anyways, he is BikeRush, despite, I will say one thing, like if you are defending versus Firehawks, you've got no units besides AA units and air defenses. So look at it this way, BikeRush, he has those tripods, but he just doesn't have, he has the AA, but he doesn't have anything to deal with the Predator tanks or the railguns. That's the thing. He's, what faction is he? He's going to be Skren, of course. I did mention that. I hope I did. Anyways, Both of these buildings go down. Okay, that's a good trade. Takes out that there. And that's going to limit Bike's production. He has no war factories. He may have to build that before a refinery, because he's in danger of getting overrun now by amount of tanks, of which there are one in the field here potentially, because he sniffs out to set up seekers for harass. Those seekers are upgraded now with shard launchers, which is going to be a problem here, because they're going to fly and they're going to try and take out these firehawks. He's going to get one immediately. Wow, that's pretty good. He's going to trade all those seekers though for it, because the amount of tank will respond. Needs to make sure that these are staying alive here. The Seekers going to get more than what they bargained for. Going to kill a Harvester as well. Oh, the Firehawks are even going to assist in this. Yep, taking those out. He's got 4 in the field, so he can go in and bomb still. Some units here for... Oh, BikeRush. He must be floating a fair few funds. He's going for double warp sphere, so he's probably going to spam out those tripods here, because there is railguns in the field. He can see the railguns. He's like, okay, there's obviously going to be a... Well, this is interesting. He's also placed a foundry, probably as a insurance policy in case he lost that drone ship somehow to the 2 airfield Firehawks, which is always a thing. Where are the Firehawks? Speaking of, I mean, his base is pretty well defended. He's got Shard AA all over the place. My god, he's also donating these forces here. Drive. He hasn't got a 3rd field established either. He's got his MCV here, amount of tanks. He's quickly going to dry out his Tiberium. He does have double ref on this field. He's got double what the hell? He's got double MCV. This guy. And he just dropped a building there. Oh, he dropped a refinery. Wow. Did that cost him? No, it didn't. Has he got any ranks on those Firehawks? That initial bombardment on the tier 3 was devastating, but since then he's been very effective with his Firehawks. He's been getting really good trades. And of course you have to, because it's a costly investment going for Firehawks, especially as early on as he did. Anyways, the mass tripod army is going to flank down here. He probably used the radar scan and detected that there's a base here. Is that the way he found out? Yes, look at that. Tiberium vibration scan. That ability is really powerful for scouting your opponent, especially on a map as large as this where scouting is really difficult. Tripod shields coming in. He may want to fence this MCV. Does he have anything to deal with these mass tripods, man? He doesn't have anything here. Oh man, this is going to be really hard for him. The Mav tanks are well out of position. He's got 3 Mavs and zone troopers coming in. This MCV may buy him enough time for the Mav tanks and zone troopers to get into position. The swarm ability was just used then. He's got the armory here potentially for the power packs upgrade for his zone troopers. These gunwalkers, if those get cleaned up, he's got nothing then to deal with the zone troopers. And the danger for BikeRush here is if he loses these tripods, he's going to gift the husks, and then it's pretty much GG, because, you know, Drive just takes those and, you know, rolls over Bike. BikeRush does have the shields on his tripods. What you could probably consider here is going for a airfield, or in his case a gravity stabilizer, and pump out a couple of devastator warships, you know, to deal with these infantry. It may be his only option, because infantry defended by heavy tiered units like Mav tanks is going to be a tough ask for gunwalkers, which are, you know, quite lightly armored. And you don't want to get into a position where you've lost all your gunwalkers and you're facing versus mass GDI tier 1 and tier 3 infantry. You know, Drive could even throw in a commando into the mix and just really, really go to town on those tripods. 4 Firehawks out in the field. Does he have these skins on them? The Kane edition skins. By the way, there is a toggle if you've downloaded 1.02 plus to enable Kane skins in the main folder of Kane's Wrath. So if you're wondering about that, there is an executable there. The screen... Kane edition skins and Kane's Wrath though don't look as good. I don't really think the green looks very good on the tripods and devastator warships. I prefer the default skins, but imagine if this game had like more skins. It would definitely keep it more alive. Imagine if you won a skin for, you know, winning a tournament. It would entice players to play and win tournaments more than what they are now. It would have definitely helped. Look at games like CSGO where they have loads of skins and loads of things like that, and that just kept the game going, as well as the massive tournaments that are hosted by and sponsored by huge companies. He's going to flee here with these Mav tanks. Don't blame them. That is a huge army. And does he have upgrades on these? He's got the plasma disc launchers. Oh, this is suicide fighting this. Drive, what are you doing, buddy? You need to get back here. That zone troopers, man, they're clumping so much together. He's going to get torn to shreds. What's he focused on? Oh man, he bombed the spike, but he just lost his army. That was disastrous for Drive. The drone ship's moving in. That is a massive tripod army, unless he has zone troopers here. Sorry, unless he has zone trooper hammerheads, he's in a lot of trouble. He's got MCV back out. Did he have 2? He's got 3 MCVs. He's going for hammerheads. Are these equipped with zone troopers inside them? If I were BikeRush, I'd have my alarm bells tingling right here. Drive, he's not quit the game. He's reversing his harvesters. What could he possibly have that beats my army of tripods? What does he have? Well, this is exactly what BikeRush should be thinking of. And he needs to escort his tripod army with his drone ship to prevent this from screwing him. One way of stopping this is to just get them all in the stasis shield. He's targeting down all of the tripods. He's going to phase that. And the thing is, he phased the tripods, but that limited his damage potential. There's 2 there that you can kill right now, which I'd definitely go for. Storm Rider's probably on the cards here for Drive. There's 2 Mav tanks tearing the base apart from the back. He's got nothing to deal with the hammerheads. BikeRush does double ref on that field there. Drive, he is mining happily on this field, and what a nice transition of his he made, going for those hammerheads. He's got the scanner packs as well, so remember that does make the range a lot better. I guess that got taken out by the Firehawks though. No, I guess he's got triple AA defenses because he's got so many MCVs. He's not paying attention. You could definitely kill these here. Oh, he needs to be careful because he's dangerously close to the anti-air, which is really, really deadly. He's going to take that husk out though, which is good. Forces the portal to drop. There's 2 husks here which he could take out, which, I mean, in the long term might be better off for him. Mav tanks did get cleaned up by the synths. What is Drive going to do? It's definitely not game over just yet. BikeRush is informed now of the hammerheads. He's not going to move out of his tripods anymore. He didn't really achieve any damage in this base with his tripods, so Drive didn't suffer any casualties. And BikeRush is aware now of the hammerheads. It's going to be difficult, especially considering how Drive has air superiority with the Firehawks. So Storm Riders is going to be incredibly difficult, though he may just have no choice. He may just have to try and overwhelm those. Drive can go for a tier 4 if he sniffs this out. It's all going to come down to scouting, and on this map as large as this, with all this, you know, all the potential and likely locations that an airfield would be, it's going to be hard for Drive to see this coming. I mean, he would probably sniff it out because it is one of the only ways of stopping this. He's got a radar scan available to him. He's going to drop the spike. He's now building Mav tanks. He's not really aware. Is he got tungsten? He's got rocket squads, and he's not got tungsten as either. So this transition to Storm Riders could be pretty lethal, considering how he only has 4 Firehawks. BikeRush, he's trying to pump out as many storms as he can. I just don't think he has the time or the eco to really do it. There's tripod husk here. BikeRush, you're going to take this over. Tripods, though, kind of useless in this spot. There is more Mav tanks on the field though for Drive. He's got a nice sizable ground army. These do stand up on their own against air as well. The Mav tanks, they have rocket pods on them, though it's somewhat of a soft counter to air. In one patch in Tiberium Wars, I actually found that, or actually seen that Mav tanks were the best anti-air units. But yeah, mass hammerhead here. That's a lot of freaking hammerheads. Have they got any let me see, anything besides zone troopers inside them? He's got a lot of rocket squads as well. That's going to be pretty good. Imagine if he was Zocom, he'd have zone raiders, and then the storms would be a non-option. But yeah, then of course he wouldn't get railguns, and railguns have played a huge role in this game in securing large victories for Drive. But yeah, it's definitely these zone heads, and man, he's got a lot of them on the field. If he gets a tier 4 and uses Shockwave on the enemy Storm Riders, in fact, just build a tier 4 just for supporting. Oh fuck, that is so powerful. He does take out the AA. That, remember, there's no ground radius here now, so he can just, oh, this is what I mean, man. He's got these here. He's going to take a while to DPS down these Mav tanks with the Storm Riders, and of course those do decent damage, the Mavs. He's going to take this husk over, and these Storm Riders, they're going to come in to respond to this. He should just force these to chase. He definitely does not have enough to kill these. He's gonna going to require some sick luck, man, to get these all destroyed. Oh my god, he's going to lose all of his hammerheads, and no Vanderency and these Storm Riders are going to be pretty huge. He's going to try and retreat them to the aid of the infantry here. He's getting clumped here. BikeRush is getting clumped up so badly, he's going to lose all of his Storm Riders. Wow. They can get taken out. He's got way too little Storm Riders, though. He is taking out all of the hammerheads, man. Wow, all of those can go down. That's going to reset the board now. He just lost all of his hammerheads, and BikeRush didn't pay nearly as bad as what he could have, escaping there with a few ranked up Storm Riders, and that's going to be really good for him. There is Firehawks still on the field. He's going to rebuild those. The game is not over just yet. Math tanks on the field here. The tripods are scattered all over the place. I guess he... Did he even see this MCV in the end? Yeah, there's one here. He could probably... I guess there is fields for him to harvest still. I mean, he could long range this. Drive's getting a bit low on eco. This distance coming out, that's super annoying to deal with as GDI. It just forces you to make APCs when you want to build freaking railgun units. So, speaking of, Predator tanks would probably be a good option because they kill the distance relatively easily as well. Tripods, on the other hand, not so much. He's got these Storm Riders, which are really hard to deal with. He needs to go in there with his Firehawks, try and get some godly AoE on them. Those are ranked up as well, remember, so they're going to do even more damage. And is Drive going to throw this game? He had this game in the bag. There's a slingshot here. Is it upgraded? No, not quite. Oh, if BikeRush is smart here, he would go in and try and, you know, hunt those down the deck. Oh my god, he's going to get smashed down by the Mammoth tanks, man. The Mammoth tanks do have anti-air, remember. And wow, that was unnecessary for BikeRush. He's going to fly into that wall of mammoths. And the infantry army is over here. He does have the swarm potentially to clean some of this up, though there is AP ammo rifle squads which are going to clean up those quite readily. And that's going to get destroyed as well. The MCV curiously over here. I guess if it turns into a base raid situation, he cannot possibly lose because of that. BikeRush would never find it. He's trying to block this out there. Losing the tier 3 is definitely a big deal. What a game this is, though. This large map, when either side can't rush each other, I guess does prove to be great for some long action-packed games. And this is no exception. The last game as well, I felt, was pretty much a slugfest as well. And BikeRush, he's struggling here versus Drive. Drive is really giving him a run for his money. Though we have to acknowledge that BikeRush hasn't been so active in this game. He's been playing mostly rivals and other things. I guess he's busy in real life as well. But yeah, he's pulling back his army, which could give Drive an opening to go into Bike's expansion here with his army. I don't think he's really paying attention. It's going to give BikeRush the chance to pull back. Okay, he just realized now, a bit too late though. I felt that he could have gone in earlier. He's got those Firehawks on standby to kill the Storm Riders, or even just kill the drone ship which packs up. I feel that BikeRush paid too dearly in this fight. He's got two tripods remaining, and against this huge army here, I think it's going to be GG. Drive does have eco. He's got 4 Firehawks. He's very resilient. At times I thought he was almost certainly going to lose this game, especially after losing all those hammerheads. BikeRush got a crazy engagement there. He's going to use the station shield, but yeah, I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to go for disintegrators. That's really his last bet. Unless these are assimilators to take the husks over here, which I guess is also a thing. Is there more infantry on the way here? Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, he's going to build this rifle squad to kill the husk. Okay, that's going to be good for Drive. He's well on to killing the husks here, and those storms are going to get taken out. And mutants, man, if you had to tell the difference between mutants and slingshots without looking, you wouldn't tell the difference damage-wise because they're exactly the same. And BikeRush is going to throw in the towel. So yeah, that's going to be 1-1 apiece for both BikeRush and Drive. Shocking, actually, because I thought at many points in that game BikeRush had a huge advantage, considering how that initial Firehawk engagement... Sorry, the Firehawks that he made at the start, BikeRush repaired his tier 3, hence saving it, versus the Firehawks. He also scored all those Firehawk kills, so I'm not sure why he didn't just wrap the game up there and then, but yeah, Drive, man, he pulled it through. And with a combination of skill and tactics and transitions, he was able to best BikeRush in that game. So yeah, that's going to be GG. It's going to be 1-1 apiece in this best of 5. So yeah, next game. Alright guys, I'm back to do game number 3. I just had to stop for a minute and take a quick breather because that game was freaking hugely long, as well as the first game. Anyways, we're going to be back, and it's going to be Tournament Galaxy. So BikeRush got the pick of this map. Is he going to be retaining his faction up here? He's going to be Skrin of some sort. Of course, it is a vanilla only tournament. I keep forgetting to mention these things. So it's only 3 factions are permitted to be played in this tournament. GDI, Nod, and Skrin. Those are considered to be the vanilla factions, not the sub factions. Though if all factions were permitted to be played, I would have just picked Steel Talons because I have a few things that I want to try as Steel Talons, which involves mutant hovels and the likes of that. But that's another thing entirely. Over here though, he's going to escort his engineer with a few rifles because of course BikeRush did pick his faction. You can't go random in this series, so he's going to make sure that he doesn't get cleaned up by the rifle, the buzzer. Because you can do 2 or 3 buzzers and reach this spike before your opponent's engineer gets there, so it is necessary to, you know, have 2 or 3 rifles. 3, I think 2 would probably clean up 3 buzzers quite easily actually, so 3 was probably a bit of an overspend there. You probably only need 2. 3 for good measure though. I can understand why. He's pulling these back here because of disintegrators, and that's a smart thing because if you don't, and your opponent does disint you, then you're going to be forced to make even more rifle squads and even more APCs. And he knows that Skrin have no rushing options besides DevCore, which is relatively weak, especially versus the caliber of, you know, Drive and BikeRush and disintegrators. That's really it. I mean, you can go for Seekers early on, but who does that? Especially considering how the Seekers have really light gun armor. So, yeah, and also Seekers are slow, relatively speaking, compared to like bikes and pitbulls. So I wouldn't use them as a rushing option. They are good though if you go to Synths and then follow up with Seekers, because then you'd be able to kill the APC, which he'd make to kill your disintegrators. So it's something you'd think of in advance as Skrin, even though you haven't seen the APC yet. That's some things I used to do. It doesn't really put you ahead at all when you anticipate these situations, but it does make for some fun games. And Bikes can get the better end of the deal here. He's going to get almost a full load of Tiberium. Drive, on the other hand, is going to escape with a partial load, so not worth it for either side. Actually, probably more so for BikeRush because he's going to force out these units here, which I imagine Drive made to try and intercept this. But he's going to get away with his full harvester. And that's unfortunate for Drive. He's going to be behind in this game already. Although, yeah, he's a little bit behind because he does place that down a little later. Wow, what does Drive do in this game? Is he going to do the same Firehawk build that he did last game? As he's seen that it was so successful that last game, though. Successful in that he won, not that the Firehawk play was, you know, game winning. In fact, quite the contrary. He lost the Firehawks in the start and then somehow brought it back out of nowhere. But this map is highly different. This map is Tib limited as hell, unlike the last map, and there is less openings to, you know, flank your opponent, unlike this map where you can defend pretty easily versus anything and just camp with a super weapon. And I'd imagine that BikeRush is going to do just that, seeing those hammerheads last game were quite a nuisance. And one way to deal with zone heads as Skrin is that rift generator. I think he picked this map for that very reason, just to kill the zone heads, because they're easy to counter on this map. And look how close the third Tiberium field on this map is compared to the second one. Like, it's literally no distance at all. You can literally base crawl there with your tech structures. You can place your tier 2 here and then your tier 3 here and then expand to this field. You don't even need to deploy your MCV, pack it up. Gunwalkers here, going to chase these pitbulls, which is quite futile really. They're a lot slower. Drive, he's making pitbulls. I think those are the ones he built at the start to try and kill the harvester. There is mecha P's out in the field. He's going to get spotted though. Interesting going for those mechas. You can go for Toxin or Shard mecha. I mean, it only makes sense to go for the Shard. You can't really tell though, because both are green. I guess the toxin segment is less green. It's like more of a dark green segment. But I would be going for toxin segment Mecha Bees because you'd be able to kill the airfield. But he's instead going to go for the harvesters. This is unexpected. Totally. Oh, he's going to get the tech center as well. This is a really good play for BikeRush. Getting that tech center means he just cancelled the sonic emitter, and Drive must have had that queued. So what a play there for BikeRush. He's going to get that sonic emitter cancelled. He's got a watchtower queue. That's the only thing that Drive can place down, watchtowers, and they're going to do bugger all versus this. Shatter attack does come out, which means he can now counter the Mecha Piece. Shatterers, that sonic damage is extremely powerful, and if the heads, I'm trying to think of the word here. If they overlap with the segments, they do take double the damage as a bug. That's why you see Mecha Piece die in 1 hit sometimes and die in 2 hits sometimes, because it's a bug. And nothing more, nothing less than that. That was lethal though. Though having said that, he did just use his stasis shield, though by the time he needs to use it again, it'll be like 6 or 7 minutes time anyways, because Drive won't have an army really by that time. So that was a great play for BikeRush. Epic use of the stasis shield. I haven't really used my stasis shield like that. I mean, I used to versus not to cancel their tier 3 if I seen that my opponent would go for tier 2 and then tier 3 afterwards. Oh! That is so painful to watch. And Drive knows it as well. It's all over for him. Losing those harvesters, then losing those firehawks like that. That must be so tilting for him. And just like that, BikeRush takes another victory, and it's going to be 2-1 in this best of 5 series. Man, but Drive, he was hoping to kill the harvester at that middle field, but the problem is, if you're not able to, then BikeRush just, you know, fucking snowballs ahead economically. And that's exactly what happened there. He took that blue field, he took more of it, and then the more you have at the start, the more you have in the end. And that's, Drive wasn't able to inflict any damage onto BikeRush. He didn't trade effectively, and yeah, that stasis shield on the tier 3 was just brutal. And that's going to be it. Alright guys, welcome back to another game, and it's going to be on Tournament Crater, one of my favourite maps lately. Why? That's why. That is why I love this map so much. Mutant hovels, and I swear that CGF made them much better, like HP wise, because before they were just made of paper pretty much. You could kill them easily. But he has since, I think, made these a lot more tougher. And he could go for the mutant hovel, man. I mean, it's really close. The mutants, they are really good, especially with steel talents because of all the garrisons that they have. I have illustrated that many a time lately. In fact, you probably would have already seen me use these mutants in a game versus Green Zero, which I'll have in one of my FPVs, and I was quite pleasantly surprised actually at how good they were. But yeah. Onto this game, we're going to have BikeRush here playing as the red screen once again, and in the bottom we can see Drive playing as GDI. He has some sort of strategy in mind. He's going for an airfield. He's going to take over BikeRush's spikes. He knows he's up against Skrin though. He needs to try and anti-scout this. If BikeRush catches wind of what's going on, he can make a gunwalker. He can kill those APCs. APCs, I mean engineers. He can't go for orcas, I think. Does he go for orcas? I mean, I guess he can. He's not versus Reapers, so those harvesters, they do die as quick as the GDI ones is. The problem is, if he reveals these V35s to BikeRush, he's going to make gunwalkers anyways. He's going for Hammerhead. Why would that be? Maybe he feels that BikeRush could have one of these garrisons garrisoned. Maybe this will freak BikeRush out into thinking there's orcas anyways. He's going for a hammerhead. Oh, I know why. It's because of disintegrators. He may expect disintegrators here. Oh, he's going to take 4 Tiberium spikes. And of course, the hammerhead, the advantage of that is if BikeRush in the future or in the near future wants to take these spikes over, he'd have to kill the hammerhead, which is near impossible. Drive could just suicide in and kill that Assimilator. Though there is one thing to mention, Skrin Assimilators are stealthed while standing still, and now that's a 4-0 spike advantage for Drive. That's a pretty huge deal here. BikeRush, he's not going to expand just yet. Oh, what's that? Is that a V35? I think that's returning to base. But that's going to coincidentally give Drive some vision of this portal here. He can only see one portal. His hammerhead's well away from base, so he needs to go straight for it and try and kill this assimilator. If he's paying attention, he'd also see where it stops, because BikeRush is going to have his screen fixated on this assimilator so he can stop and shoot that down. And he is going to come in with the hammerhead. He's going to take that out. BikeRush is not paying attention. In fact, what's he doing? He needs to kill that. Does he know where it is? Wow, Drive, man. He remembers exactly where it is. He's going to build another assimilator, and this is going to force so much overspending. And what the hell is this, man? A construction yard? That is a construction yard. BikeRush, you're building gunwalkers, but you have nothing to deal with this. There's no... He's going to kill this APC, I think. Where's the hammerhead? Is it taking the long way around? Oh, I think he might get... Oh my god, he kills the assimilator. Wow, that is insane. BikeRush losing 2 assimilators. He's on 4 to 0 spikes still. And this has just gone bad to worse for BikeRush. What's he going to do? He's now going to get camped here. He's going to go for disintegrators most likely. He has no choice. But his eco at this point would be so far behind compared to Drive. I mean, Drive does have 1 refinery, but look, he's up against 4 Tiberium spikes, BikeRush here. Drive can make much more use out of that 1 field, because he's getting raw resources simply from these spikes, which generate income indefinitely for him. He doesn't... Oh, what's he doing? If he puts this MCV, he can't really deploy in that terrain, so he needs to be careful. I'm not sure if you can see this part of the map here. There was a danger of him losing to mass descent. BikeRush, what's he going to do here? He's going to go for disintegrators. He's got the right idea, going for dev tanks. Maybe a stasis shield on the MCV, then mass descents would be good. Oh, he's got the M spike. And I have since remembered where the M spike is. It is right here. Both sides have access to one. That's something that I should also... That's one building I should also take as well. As well as the subway system on those 2v2 maps. When I mentioned I'd do a first-person video on 2v2 maps but play 1v1. Like, imagine the subway system in those maps. I've never used it before. Maybe once or twice years ago, but I'm not sure how that works. And apparently CGF has reworked it as well. And this is just a complete disaster for BikeRush. He's getting overrun here. And these dev tanks, if they don't get charged up, they're pretty useless. They just don't have the DPS to kill these Predator tanks. War Factory going to be coming up anytime here. He's actually going to take this drone platform. He's going to be forced to lift up. And with all these Predator tanks here to aim this down, it's going to be all over for BikeRush. Just BikeRush paying attention to this. He's going to lose his drone platform. Wow, gets it straight away. BikeRush, he may be just forced to call the GG. He's got this assimilator here, Drive. He's going to try and take over. BikeRush has no AA at the moment, by the way. So if he goes for a hammerhead, it is over for him. Man, this is going to be really bad. What do we have here for... I mean, Drive, he can go for an... I simply think with what he has here, he can probably win, especially because he doesn't have a War Factory at home, so he needs to be very careful. His production's here. He doesn't want to lose this game. And these 2 buildings. These 2 buildings are his build. So if he loses these, he's almost certainly going to lose this game. He probably should just take up to an airfield again, because there's only 1 gunwalker. If he kills this 1 gunwalker, it's pretty much over for him. There is descents here. He's struggling to deal with this. He's going to go for a tier 2, I'd imagine, because there's no AA aside from the EMP spike, which he needs to be very wary of. There is this EMP center here, but besides that, that's BikeRush's AA. There's nothing else. I mean, he could go... This is it, right? He could go for the assimilator, take the mutant hovel, and then he'd get the mutants, which do fire up. He can go for anti-air, but can BikeRush acknowledge this? He probably doesn't even know that that's there, that mutant hovel. I haven't seen him take it before, but that is one thing he could definitely do. Squeeze out an assimilator, take that building. He also needs to do something about these spikes, man. There's also 4 pred tanks in the back, which he probably may forget about. But yeah, did Drive get that airfield down? He does have it down. He also has a crane as well, so that must have been a crane that he had earlier. So he's definitely not out of this game. He's got a build, he's got an airfield as well, so this has gone from bad to worse for BikeRush. It may require more than mutants at this point for victory to be achieved. But I think it's almost futile at this point. There's going to be hammerheads on the way, double airfield hammerheads. And he hasn't even harvested this field yet. BikeRush did take one of the spikes back, so... But yeah, man, he must be... What a well-executed strategy for Drive here. I would have probably lost the same way, actually. That was such a crazy build. Such a crazy, crazy build. And this guy does have a tendency of doing these things, pulling, you know, rabbits out of the hat like that. And these descents are just gonna get completely owned. Oh, where's the... Oh, he missed entirely. He didn't even get a single hammerhead. That's going to be probably BikeRush dead. He's not got anything to kill the hammerheads. There's more on the way. And that's going to be it. And what a game. BikeRush losing to that. You can say BikeRush played bad there. It was just Drive had a sick strategy. And he executed it flawlessly as well. There was no way that BikeRush could have came back and won that game. I mean, granted, he could have just did what I told you there, which was to stasis the MCV and gone for more descents. But he, in the thick of the moment, couldn't think of everything at once. I mean, even when I play, you could probably criticize in the comments that I make mistakes, which I do. I'm only human, you know, that's normal. So, yeah, you can always do something different, but I felt that Drive in that game had a really good strategy, and it worked out perfectly for him. So, yeah, GG. He and BikeRush are now tied 2-2. It's going to be an ace match here between BikeRush and Drive. Stay tuned and find out who's going to win this. Alright, guys, we're now on to the ace match. The ace match of this quarter final. I think it's a quarter final. Anyways, it is shaping up to be a pretty intense showdown between these two players. BikeRush, he's on the verge of losing in this tournament. The same could be said for Drive, but BikeRush losing would be an even bigger upset. Anyways, he's got the map pick, and he's going to pick a map that he's very familiar with, at least in Tiberian Wars. And Kane's off, this map isn't nearly as good, but nevertheless, Drive up here, he's going to retain his faction. He's going to be GDI. He's not going to strafe away from GDI. He must have a set of strategies planned for this series, as you saw in that last game. That was definitely well executed. It seemed like he had that in mind all along. He did end up picking that map, so he must have had that strategy prepared for the tournament. And he's going to be over here. Sorry, BikeRush is going to be over here. He's going to go for Nod. And I can tell you what BikeRush is going to do on this map. He's going to go for fast one-clicks. It is a map which I haven't seen him do anything but that. There was a time where he went Scorpion Tank spam on this map, which was a rare sight indeed, because usually he does go for one-clicks in the Redeemer. Like, he favors tier 3 play over that spam. And he does have a tendency of also, instead of expanding, going all in for his opponent's expansion. Because if your opponent commits to a refinery on this field, then BikeRush can commit to more units and, you know, place down defenses at his opponent's expansion and deny that expansion. It is really hard to defend versus someone who's trying to punish your expansion like that. Especially on the map like this, where both fields are of equal distance. Like this field here and this one here are the same distance apart from each other's base. So it's a unique map in that aspect. There's not many maps where it's like that, and I've seen many a game where, especially versus Technique, I had a game where I moved to the right with my MCV, and then I was like, no, Technique's going that way, I'm going to go to the left, and then both of us are like changing our MCV's direction every 5 seconds. And that was a really fun and memorable moment I had on this map. He's going for Pipples. Why would he do that? Did he not get a scout off? Maybe he suspects a flame tank, because he has seen BikeRush do that a lot. He's going for Pipples, man, which could... I mean, he's gambling a lot on this here, because if BikeRush ecos like he is now, and there's no flame tanks coming, then he's in all sorts of trouble, because he committed a lot to that Pitbull harass. And he's got 4 Pitbulls out. He's seen that there's eco up for BikeRush. The thing is, BikeRush responded after ecoing. So, yeah, that didn't work out. Drive was expecting Bike to go for the flame tank rush. I can't blame him, because I have seen him BikeRush do that a lot on this map to kill the spikes. And killing the spikes early on is a huge deal on this map, because both are given 2. Though they are relatively easy to defend compared to most maps, because they are close to your base, so there is that. He's going to retreat with his Pitbulls. Only 2-3 surviving. Yeah, he's going to get his eco established now. BikeRush, he's taking up to tier 3 most likely. Yeah, as expected. Bike's on the field. Maybe he wants to... Why would you build bikes? I'd go for Scorps, but I guess you need AA units as well, because you're versus GDI. GDI Air on this map is very potent. He's going for Orcas. Orcas, they're okay versus the bikes. Man, this Black Hand squad is going to be a real nuisance, especially when it's garrisoned up here. He may be forced to go for an AP, a Hammerhead, Rocket Hammerhead, but yeah, these bikes are going to be a nuisance as well if he does that. APC Grenade might be his best bet. He could clear these buildings out, but I'm not sure if he has the time to do it. He does have a tier 2, so he can go for that. I think he may be forced to, because there's a lot of rocket squads here, and that'll, you know, just prevent the passage of these pitballs and such. He's going to see these orcas, man. Does Drive know about the bikes? He could be flying straight into here. That could be the doom of Drive. He's trying to focus down these bikes. Oh my god, what a focus firing from Drive. Wow, he is really on point here. Stealth tank as well going to get destroyed. Wow, two orcas for that. That is so worth it. That is unbelievable. Drive, man. That was crazy. He's going to rebuild those orcas. If you have control like that, I don't blame you. Just build more. The Raider buggy in the back. You can see the stealth tanks. There's a one click that's going to be imminent now. There's one click going to come down straight down on these two harvesters. Of course, it doesn't one shot kill the harvesters anymore like it did before. And he's just going to use the C-Tyrone as well. I'm assuming that's what that was. He needs to be as effective as he was before with his army. He's probably going for Redeemer as well. BikeRush, again, I predicted this from the start. What the hell is that refinery placement as well? I guess it's okay that he done that. It's just really weird seeing that refinery there. That tower's going to slowly pick apart that building. It's going to take a while there for him to destroy that. Drive here. He sees that. I'm not sure what he sees, but yeah, there is a Redeemer on the way, almost certainly. The stealth tank's on the field too. Does he have the sensor pod upgrade? Yes, he does. He knows there's more on the field. The problem is, though, he doesn't have the units to kill them. His Predator tanks are... He's actually got no Predator tanks. There's another refinery down? No, he's not got that down. If he had, then that would be pretty bad situation for BikeRush to be in. There's stealth tanks coming in here for the harvesters. He's seen this a mile away, though, but again, he just didn't have the units. He's going to get clumped up here by the oh my god, these buildings are really paying off here for BikeRush. If he had a rocket APC, sorry, grenade APC, he could have cleaned these out easily, but there's not many maps where you encounter the situation where you need to clear out bunkers. V35 could have been for an APC, an engineer, sneaky engineer tactics, or it could have been just a scout, which is also good as well. Oh my god, is this harvester getting destroyed? And remember, it is full of Tiberium, so that's going to cripple Drive even more. He does have eco on this field here. He's got 4 harvesters, 5 harvesters. He's in good position still. The thing is, though, there's going to be a Redeemer on the field. He's going to push in for the kill. And is he going to sell this off? Yes, he is. He's going to go in with his infantry, with his Redeemer. And what the hell is Drive going to do? He needs Predator tanks. He needs them now. He's got 3 orcas. He needs to try and inflict as much damage as possible onto that enemy Redeemer before it arrives. But he's going to be escorted here by rocket squads, which will handily deal with these orcas. Oh, using the... He mustn't have those on hold fire stance. That was unfortunate. Going to get the MCB. Not quite. In fact, not nearly enough damage. He needs to go for a War Factory, I feel. But yeah, this Redeemer is going to be incredibly hard to deal with. Watchtowers and Predator tanks. That's really the only thing I can think of that can, you know, push this back. And BikeRush, he's long-lengthing, harvesting this Tiberium field, ordering his harvesters up here to collect that tib. He's not going to be dry out of funds. He's going to get a nice load of Tiberium in soon. He's going to put down these shredder turrets here, probably anticipating infantry. Maybe a SAM turret is what he's looking for. The Redeemer, though, is going to come in, and that's going to be... Unless Drive has a super blackout plan, he's going for mass orcas, so it's not over just yet. The thing is, he has these garrison structures, BikeRush. He can kill those orcas with these buildings that he has, like, randomly garrisoned up with rocket squads. There is harvesters here. May want to pull them back to the other refinery. He's only got 1 ref now. He probably could sell this off as well, get the quick funds rather than gift experience to this Redeemer. He's going to try and kill this. I mean, if he kills this, that's something. But yeah, BikeRush, he's not destroyed. He's going to raid the harvesters down here, leeching the Tiberium, which is good. There's more rockets on the field. The Redeemer is unopposed. He's got these orcas. He's trying to aim this down. If he gets the War Factory, then that's going to limit Drive's production. Oh my god, this is going to be so close. Wow, he gets the Redeemer and the War Factory does go down. That was incredibly close, guys. That was incredibly close, especially considering how much of this eco he has. BikeRush now just has to sit back and get AA turrets down, and he can't possibly lose. He has his tech center alive as well. If he realizes he can just go for typical missiles and plant down AA turrets, and then Drive would have no way of winning. Mind you, the vehicles he can produce is the what do you call it? Can he see these harvesters? That would be pretty devastating if he could. He could go in for the refinery kill. Oh, there's a SAM turret here. That's bad for Drive. He's going to try and find as many harvester kills as possible. He's going to take out these power plants. But yeah, BikeRush is well aware of that. He's going to... Oh my god, he's trying to aim down these power plants, man. He must have had all of his buildings just powered down. He quickly went back to base to get that as well. Oh my god, that was... I mean, Drive could have paid more for that, but yeah, he's taking the Tiberium still. He's going Hammerheads, Drive. He's going to have double ref on this field soon, I think. No, he's trying to get his power plants back up. He's got no power. He's got 3 here, actually. He's got his tier 2 still around, so you can upgrade those with the liquid Tiberium core, and Nod ones do benefit the most from upgrading your power plants, so forced to sell one of the airfields because he lost a lot of orcas in that fight. And what a close series this has turned out to be. Indeed, I reckon if he had not got that war factory, this could have gone on longer. Not got the war factory and also sensor pods, detected those 2 rallying to this field. BikeRush would have been on 2 less harvesters, and Drive could have had an MCV out. I reckon if that had turned out to be the case, he could have just come back and won this game. But I'm not going to write Drive off just yet. The tier 3 is sold, so BikeRush no longer has the option to go for tip core. He's going for rockets because he sees all these buildings are fully garrisoned. There's no way that Drive can get grenadier squads anymore to clear those out, so he's just going to abuse that. He's got these AA turrets here. He's going to be really hard to deal with those. Venom's coming out as well, which is really, really good. He's going to have nothing to deal with that unless he calls in the Bloodhounds. And he's going to come across these orcas here, and Drive may just decide to throw it in here because he has no anti-air. He has one option, which is the Bloodhounds, but yeah, I feel that it's just futile him trying to win this game now. He's just going to throw it in, and that's going to be it. BikeRush takes the series, the tournament, not the tournament, obviously. He goes on to the next round, and yeah, I'm not sure if Green Zero will post the tournament grand final before I put this up. I will have this posted on Wednesday. My schedule for this to go up is on Wednesday, so you may have already known the outcome of this series, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this VOD nonetheless. I did enjoy casting this series. I was curious about how these games were played out. I did learn a thing or two. I do want to see if that NOD computer countermeasures affects the radar jamming missile. It is an interaction that I am curious to see if it's affected or not. But yeah, nevertheless, guys, hope you enjoyed this cast. I have plans to get the grand finals casted as well if Green Zero doesn't. Anyways, this is Master Leaf. Peace out.